What's up, everyone? It's Yue from the Strictly Broken YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be making a video about a topic that I've been dreading. I actually made this video when we first started doing the daily uploads, and I ended up deleting the file, and my editor was pretty upset with that because he's like, you should just tell the story. Fuck it, we need content. But it's a story that's very upsetting for me. It's a story that, as the title tells, you already know based on the title, it's just a very, very upsetting story in the Strictly Broken TCG timeline. And I like to talk about it as a joke, but it actually does affect me internally, knowing that it was just such a hard experience for me, this was like 3 years ago, right? So it was like relatively during the growth phase of Strictly. We haven't really been that established as we are currently, and it was just, oh my goodness. It's the story of Batman Ninja, the Wayshore set, and a byproduct of that was that I was really heavily considered throwing the towel and closing down Strictly Broken TCG. So let's start all the way to pre-order season. So not everyone knows this, but pre-orders for any card game, any product, a lot of just things in the world in general, you got to pre-order stuff in advance. You got to pre-order stuff months in advance, and you got to make pre-order decisions based on projections, based on history, based on in a lot of ways actually you have to make decisions based on faith, epistemology, and just establishing kind of some knowledge based on very uncertain factors. Something that's going to come out months from then, 6 months from then, you cannot know all the details to make a perfect decision, or business would just be too easy. But so it was pre-order season. Batman Ninja is announced, and how do I know? How do I have a feeling that Batman Ninja is going to be hot? Beyond the fact of like, okay, Batman Ninja might be a hot set. It might be the Wayshore set that finally brings in the cartoon audience, finally brings in the comic book audience. I'm a big fan of Batman, so I hang out with some people who are big, Batman fans, comic book fans, and it could have potentially been a super banger. I didn't actually watch Batman Ninja itself. Maybe that was a mistake, because I just thought Batman maybe might have caused a connection for comic book fans, but the Batman Ninja movie was very, very, very mediocre. Regardless of all that, and my idea that maybe Batman would have been a hit, would have brought in a new crowd to the Wayshore's card game, do keep in mind that even excluding that and the speculations of that it being potentially a hot set, we were pushing 20 plus case numbers of each set prior to that for the past year and a half. We were in a pretty big growing phase, and we went from being 8 cases, 6 cases a set to doing 20. I think the first time we ever did 20 cases was Fate Apocrypha, and then Kantai, and then Konosuba, ReZero, Card Captor, the first English exclusive set they ever did. We did 20 cases of all of these sets. And for that matter, Card Captor, the first English exclusive set, was a banger for us. We did 20 cases of it. It sold really well. It made us a good amount of money. It was a very stable set for us. And I really felt like Batman would have been no different. Maybe I went completely wrong, because Batman is a cartoon, and it's technically an anime, I guess, because it's like a Japanese Batman, but Batman is a cartoon character. Card Captor, at least being an anime itself, was still follow the status quo of Wayshore sets and how they can be popular. So maybe that was just a wrong theory in itself, that because Card Captor did well, Batman can do well. These two English exclusive sets could be hand in hand. No. Keep in mind also that Card Captor created a lot of frustration for English Wayshore's players, because they released Card Captor promising it was an exclusive set, and then right after they released the set, Japan got their own exclusive Card Captor Sakura set that was, all the effects changed, and it became substantially more powerful as a set. And so I guess it still was English exclusive. It was exclusively shit in the English meta, which was a huge issue. I think it was a huge turnoff for the whole idea of English exclusive sets. The fact that Card Captor set got overshadowed by a Japanese set, regardless of their promise to be exclusive, and then that basically set a precedence for all English exclusive sets. Like, this might not truly be exclusive. and it probably affected Batman a little bit as well. Those were the factors that all went into play during the pre-order season. We ended up dropping a number for pre-order that we ended up spending a little over $30,000 for all the Batman cases that we bought. I don't want to disclose exact numbers, but I spent a little over $30,000. During the few months between the pre-order season and the release, I already started to get very, very worried. We typically do pre-orders for playsets of cards from boosters, for waste boosters, and we typically sell a good amount of playsets for pre-order. And it's a good indicator of a set's performance. It's a good indicator of a set's popularity, and it's a good indicator of the game's growth, popularity. As we see more playsets getting sold, we know the game is growing, it's doing well, or at least our audience is growing. Batman, we got like barely any playset pre-orders. It was already a little bit of a red flag, like this could be a disaster. Unfortunately, when you pre-order everything, you're taking that shit, right? Like, it's a little bit different with stuff like Pokemon and Magic. You pre-order a large amount, distributors don't even bat an eye too much if you want to shorten the number, because they know if you don't take it, they can push it onto someone else very easily. Those products are very, very liquid. For a smaller card game like Bushiroad, if you pre-order $30,000 worth of Batman Ninja, you're taking $30,000 worth of Batman Ninja. You have a little bit of flex depending on your relationship with your distributor, and I did have a bit of flex. But when you have a relationship like I do with my distributor, like you do feel bad if you push some kind of shitty product back to the distributor, because it's bad for them too, and you ultimately made that decision. So I ended up just taking it all. So like release, even though we saw almost no pre-orders, and all these bad signs were already starting to take effect, I just took it all. I just took the full Batman Ninja shipment. It releases, right? It releases. Set sucks. The card effects, you can read the card effects if you're interested in this video and the context of it. The card effects are horrible. The deck is absolutely atrocious. It is not good. I hoped it was good. Like, again, I was a Batman fan, so I even played the set, and it was just... It felt like a time capsule of a deck from 2 years prior was printed in an era that was at that time, like during the release, and that just doesn't make sense. I don't understand what happened. Well, I've heard whispers that the set designers really thought the set was good, but I don't know if that's true. It's one of those my uncle from Bushiroad things where we don't know if it's true or not. But they thought it was good. It was not good. I'll tell you, it's not good. If you look at so they gave out a exclusive promo for Batman Ninja at Waste tournaments. You get it if you play Batman Ninja for the tournament, and that promo is super rare because no one plays Batman Ninja at tournaments. It's this like Joker promo. My theory that comic book fans would get into Batman Ninja was completely off, at least from Strictly Broken TCG's perspective. Who knows what at a local LGS level, like other than ours, if it took off. It did not at our LGS, I'll tell you that much. My friends that were Batman fans weren't even that interested in Batman. We sold some boxes here and there, probably equating to about a case worth of boxes to people who are fans, obviously, but that's just a poor performance overall. This was during an era where we already tried to basically stop doing sealed product. Watch the previous video to explain for when I explain all of that. But we were just forced to sell booster boxes of Batman because I had $30,000 worth of Batman on my shelf. We do crack some for singles as well. In terms of singles performance, like singles as in like the individual cards on our website, those sold like trash. To this day, I still have 80 copies of like basically every double R from that set in our inventory. They move like once in a while. The foils actually move pretty well. We basically are out of foils. I guess the collectors did come through in the end because the foils, as a Batman fan, the foils look super nice. So the collectors came through there, but in terms of the double Rs and the rares and the common uncommons, we have 80 plus of each of them. It's absolutely insane. They take up an entire 4-row in our inventory aisles. It's crazy. So yeah, the shit sits on my shelf. It does horribly. It does poorly. I felt like I lost 30K. Obviously, I didn't lose exactly 30K. The exact amount I lost was around 20K after everything. but it was just so upsetting. I've never experienced anything like that. That level of unliquidity. Basically, like, you talk about items being liquid. This shit was fucking rock solid. Doesn't want to budge. It was horrible. I felt, I want to say borderline depressed that a decision I made could have resulted in such a poor performer. It made me question my ability to run a card store, my decision making. I definitely was not in the best. It was not the best time for me at all. Thought about throwing in the towel. I ultimately didn't. As you guys can see, I am well in the live here. Pretty positive, pretty happy, to be honest. And that's a separate video in itself, how I ultimately bounced back from all of that and decided to take Strictly to actually the next level, I would like to say. But, you know, that's not the video for that. I digress. At the time, I called a bunch of friends, told them how I felt, told them about the money I'm losing here. And, like, you know, nowadays, okay, I'd be lying if I said 30K is like a small amount of money. I'd be lying. 30K is not a small amount of money. And definitely to lose it on Batman, fucking Batman of all thing cards, it does not feel good. It felt horrible. You know, definitely, I'll say, like, if we were in 2021 and this decision happened, I would be probably in a much better headspace. Since then, I've done many more stupid decisions, and I guess I've learned and been able to bounce back much better than the Batman situation, because I experienced the Batman thing. So there's a positive takeaway from that. But yeah, I talked to a lot of friends. They gave me some advice. I just talked it through and everything. Ultimately decided to keep doing the Strictly Broken TCG stuff. But what ended up happening in the aftermath of the whole Batman Ninja fiasco is that I liquidated all the boxes. I just didn't want to see it anymore. It was in a different world. There's a world where I hold everything, right? Just take the L, do the whole AMCGME, and just hold till you die. Leave it in a basement somewhere. Leave it in a storage space somewhere. But I just didn't want to see it. It showed me too much. Like, seeing it caused me too much pain. It actually did. Like, knowing that I made that decision that cost me that much money at the time, I just didn't want to see it. I liquidated everything, sold everything at, like, dirt cheap prices. Get it out of my sight, get it out of my sight. After all that liquidating and everything, I still lose around 20K. So I recouped about 10. Like, when I quote 20K earlier, this is after all of the liquidating. 20K loss. That's the final number. Canadian, by the way. So in USD, it's actually a lot less. I'm not sure if this video has a conclusion. It was just very, very upsetting. Not every video has to have a conclusion. There's no life lesson here. There's no big overarching point I'm trying to make. No big hashtag lost porn. No flex. It was just one of the worst things that happened. I'm not even... Look. Maybe there is a takeaway here, and I do want to say this. I don't fault myself in terms of my decision making. Whenever I look back on this story, it's never, how could you have thought that Batman would have taken off? How could you have thought that not comic book heroes, how could you have thought that comic book fans would have played way shorts if Batman came out? I don't beat myself up over that stuff. I just beat myself up over the fact that I allowed for this kind of decision to happen, but I don't beat myself up over the actual decision making process. You know, like, you're gonna make decisions in life that will not pay out for you, that will not go well for you, it will not go your way. And I didn't really let that take me down. In the end of the day, Strictly Broken is still alive and pumping, and every day is looking brighter for us in 2020 especially, and then now 2021. So Batman, that shit was one of the worst experiences of my life, hands down. Just basically feeling like burning that much money, especially in 2019, was not a pleasant experience. But if you want to buy some Batman Ninja singles, you could do so at strictlybrokentcg.ca. Anyways, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope I was a little bit more raw this video. I hope the story, the messaging, and the elements of the story did come through. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's UA signing off. Peace.